Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into Hoopsville. It is January the 15th. I'm your host, Dave McHugh. Welcome in. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Our volume's a little low. Apologies. Not sure what's up. We're going to have to maybe change the mic. Do some rearranging here. I don't love this setup either. I'll get the mic a little bit closer to me today. Maybe that'll help a little bit. I think we're going to have to change the setup. Yeah, it's tracking a little low, so we'll figure it out, but I'm sure we'll be more than capable of dealing in the meantime. Play with some settings, see if we can give that a little bit of a boost. There we go. That's a little bit better. If you got questions for us, email us, hoopsville@d3sports.com. And you can tweet us at D3Hoopsville or hashtag Hoopsville. Join us on Facebook at facebook.com/Hoopsville. Let's see. All the information at the bottom of your screen. Also, buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville. Sign up for a membership. Get access to the Top 25 show, which Monday night was outstanding. Tim Calderwood joined us on the men's side. We got to get him in more often. He is terrific. He's the Assistant Athletic Director for Athletics Communications at Benedictine. He's been a long-time Top 25 voter. He puts his poll out there for everyone to read. We definitely need to get him on more often. He was terrific. We'll get a repeat with him, I promise you. He and Ryan had a great segment. And then Gordon and Riley had a great segment on the women's side. It is worth a watch. If you are not a member, you can't gain access to it just yet. It will be public later, but for now, it's behind the membership. So sign up for a membership. You get to watch it live or see and listen to the podcast ahead of time. Also, Off Court Podcast is about to be launched. You get access to that as well. And we are finalizing. I just have to tweak some images, and we're going to finalize some things where you can purchase, as it were, opportunities. For example, do you want like a happy birthday from me in the studio? Do you want a voicemail greeting from me? I know it sounds a little crazy, but the idea, if you are an NPR fan, comes from Wait, Don't Tell Me. That's where the idea originates. And so, anyway, that's where we have the idea. Also, Zoom opportunities. If you want to chat with me individually, you can purchase those. We're going to literally, I'm just trying to put in images together because it requires images together for those, and then we're launching them. I might be able to get around to that this afternoon before I have to get to a gig later tonight. I got some time tomorrow as well, so hopefully we'll be able to put that all together. Crazy night in Division III on Wednesday. Tuesday was certainly good, too. Don't get me wrong. Union, we're going to have to get them on the show soon because they once again won on buzzer beaters. They are a buzzer-beating squad. I swear in the last couple of years, that is the story of Union. They won the overtime 12-8. To win 94-90, but it was a buzzer beater to force the overtime for Union against RIT. Tanner Tedesco hit it. It's a great shot. There's one that Pat tweeted out on D3 Hoops where it's coming at the camera. It's terrific. So that highlighted Tuesday, but then last night, all kinds of craziness, including more craziness in the WIAC. Let's start on the women's side of things. I try and keep track of these things when I'm at a gig. Obviously the internet is kind of required. Otherwise, it's a little bit difficult. Scranton had an easy time of it. Platteville Oshkosh beat Platteville, I should say, by 12 in a low-scoring affair, 56-44. WNL got a win. La Crosse knocked off Whitewater. This one stunned me in women's basketball. And it wasn't close. It was 77-54. Knocked off the 7th-ranked Warriors. What am I talking about? Apologies, Whitewater. Got something caught in my mouth and bugging me. There we go. Warhawks. I think we have a light. Yeah, we have a light that's malfunctioning. If you just notice the light go out, we're going to have to work on that. John Carroll easily passed Worcester. Hope easily passed Adrian. Ohio Wesleyan easily passed Kenyon. Denison easily won. Illinois Wesleyan easily won. Baldwin Wallace more than easily won over Heidelberg. Carroll had a barn burner with North Central, needed 4 points to get past them. Bethel had an easy time of it. Susquehanna got past Randolph-Macon surprisingly easily, 67-42. I expected that to be a much more competitive game. Randolph-Macon falls to 10-4. That might be their worst loss, in a long time. 67-42. Got to dive into that, see if there was something else. But Shenandoah is a good team. Make no mistake. I'm pretty impressed with how they play. But that Oshkosh win and at La Crosse win certainly made the WIAC interesting, which made the men's WIAC also just as WIAC-y. Stevens Point lost. They ended up, an 8-game winning streak, I believe it was. We'll start at the top, though. Mount Union got past Capital 91-78. Randolph-Macon dispatched Bridgewater. It wasn't even a game, 103-47. Montclair State had a battle with TCNJ as we all expected it to be, and Montclair survived 76-72. Claremont Mudd Scripps had a battle with Cal Lou, but won by 9. Redlands easily dispatched Laverne. Stout knocked off Stevens Point 83-67 at Stout. That's a huge win for Stout. It just makes the WIAC even more crazy. And to be honest, it busts some... I'm not going to say Stevens Point's automatically getting in. What I'm saying is the WIAC is playing in a way that's going to bust a lot of bubbles because they've got so many good teams that are going to get in on the NPI, and these losses float some other teams into the conversation. Stout's 6-9. They're not going to get into the tournament unless they win their conference tournament, but it just adds to the just complexity of things. Gustavus needed overtime to finally get past Concordia Moorhead, 82-77. Concordia's got a good team. That's only their 5th loss of the season. Granted, they're 10-5, but 2-4 in conference play. Calvin got past Kalamazoo easily. La Crosse got knocked off by Whitewater. La Crosse is in a bit of a tailspin here. They are now 11-4, but they're 1-3 in conference play. They've lost 3 straight. They are 4-3 in their last 7, dating back to their Augustana game on the 20th. If you want to count the game before that, the Concordia game, then they're 4-4 in their last 8. I wouldn't be. I have them 10th, and that's probably too high in my top 25. Might remove them. Three straight losses is 3 straight losses, no matter where you are in the poll. Oshkosh got past Platteville in a battle of 19-20. Oshkosh to 20 got won by 10. Endicott over Gordon easily. Hood over Stevenson easily. Catholic over Susquehanna somewhat easily. By the way, Catholic women got past Susquehanna. Susquehanna had 3 players foul out of that game. Just fascinating. On the women's side, Johns Hopkins did not play yesterday. They had the bye. But I bring up the Centennial Conference because guess what? Bryn Mawr women got their first win in conference play since 2008. Yeah, 2008. You do the math. 14 years for those. No, 18 years. Whoa, I can't even do the math. They beat Washington College. I've seen Washington College. They aren't that great this year. Bryn Mawr is actually kind of testy. That's a big win. And here's what I'm going to say. That's going to do one of 2 things. It's going to have teams that were going to overlook Bryn Mawr now a little bit more awake, which means Bryn Mawr is going to have maybe some tougher results coming. Or Bryn Mawr is going to get a couple more wins because they've now got the confidence going into some games in that Centennial. The bottom group is beatable for Bryn Mawr. So hats off to them. First win since 2008 in Centennial play. More than impressive. Also the Centennial, I was at Gettysburg last night calling the game against Franklin and Marshall. Franklin and Marshall got beat by Gettysburg. I'll say this. Every time F&M in the last couple of years has had a chance to kind of take the conference by the horns a little bit, and as they did in the semifinals last year, that's about the only occasion where it's worked for them. They seem to have these moments and just cannot rise to the occasion. They had won 12 straight. This is their, second conference game. They were they got out to a quick start, and my initial read was, yeah, this is exactly how I think this game's going to play out. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be a good one. I'm not expecting much from this. Remember, F&M is receiving votes, and Gettysburg's been struggling this year. And so I thought to myself, yeah, not much to write about here. And then it went off the rails. I said it on the broadcast. It went absolutely off the rails. Both defenses dictated the game. And when F&M doesn't have things going for them, they start to struggle. And when they struggle, they start getting out of sorts. They don't play well. They don't execute. And then they start getting in their heads. They've got some tremendous talent on that team. And they sometimes get stuck in their heads. And it happened last night. Grossless picked up a technical foul about midway through the first half. By the way, we went like 5.5 minutes stuck at 11-10. First half ended lower scoring than a lot of women's games I've been to this year. Grossless picks up a technical foul for complaining about a supposed non-call. And while explaining it to Nick Niché, he picks up a technical because he wouldn't let the argument go. So suddenly F&M's now kind of behind the whole things and, frustrated. By the way, 66 free throws, and neither team, I think it was about 50% of the free throws went in. It was ugly from the free throw line. It was ugly from the floor. It was ugly from deep. No one could hit shots. It continued. There wasn't a lot of chippiness. Or to be fair, the game was hard fought, but it wasn't chippy. I got to give these teams credit. It wasn't a great game to play because, as to quote Luke Stilson, the SID at Gettysburg at halftime, it was like throwing rocks. These teams were struggling. And it's because both defenses forced it. I thought the officials called a good game, but F&M couldn't dictate things. And it ultimately boiled over, about 8 minutes left to go in the game? Grossless, who had, after that technical, did not play the rest of the first half. He was sitting at 2 fouls with that technical. And he was struggling. I mean, they all were. I mean, Noaziat didn't start hitting shots until midway through the second half. And he ended up being their only offense. And so midway through 8 minutes or so left to go in the second half, there's a battle, I think, for a rebound on Gettysburg's offensive end. And Aiden Mess for Gettysburg fouls Grossless. I keep saying Grau, because the first pronunciation I got a couple years ago was Grossless, and now and then last year it changed to Grossless, and I can't get the other one out of my head. Grossless, and he tangled up on Mess fouling Grossless, and as Grossless went down, he put it, or he was getting up, he put his hand on Mess's head, kind of pushed it into the ground, and then Mess overreacted completely, grabbed a hold of Grossless's leg and brought him down. That resulted in both of them being ejected. They would have been out of the game anyway because Mess's foul was his 4th. The double tech that got immediately called would have been his 5th. The tech would have been the second on Grossless. So both would have been out of the game, but then both got ejected after review. They gave an F1 to Grossless. They gave an F2 to Mess. I think in hindsight, it probably should have been a double F2. But to both teams' credit, they didn't let that dictate the game. Again, it was a hard-fought game. It didn't get chippy. It didn't get ugly. Nate Williams picked up a technical foul for just overreacting on a block. To be honest, he in the moment you knew it. He turned, he got all excited, and he was focusing that at the guy he blocked the shot on. Franklin Marshall's big guy, Lotov, I can't remember how to say his name. I apologize, everybody. The Ukrainian. Picked up his 3rd foul early in the second half, then picked up his 4th. They pulled him out. They brought him in 2 minutes later with like 13 and a half minutes left on the clock. They brought him back in the game. He played a couple of minutes, then he disappeared. He never picked up his 5th foul, and he never played the rest of the game. Anyway, just odd. And so F&M loses, and now Hopkins, Ursinus, and Swarthmore are on top of the conference at 2-0. Franklin Marshall McDaniel. F&M had just dispatched McDaniel with 17 threes and shot the lights out of the building down in Westminster. They're tied with McDaniel, Muhlenberg, and now Gettysburg at 1-1, Washington College, Haverford, Dickinson 0-2. So F&M had this chance to kind of be in control of this conference going into a game against Hopkins on Saturday, which would have been a battle of 2-0 teams. Now F&M's playing from behind a little bit. I think F&M's the team to beat in this conference. They just keep missing out on those opportunities, and we'll see how it plays out. But absolutely wild game. 4 or 5 technicals, 2 flagrant fouls, 66 free throws. Game took forever. And it wasn't the ref's fault. I thought the refs called a good game, all in all. I know Nick Nashe was trying to engage with me. I was broadcasting. Nick, if you're listening, I was not going to get into a back and forth with you while I'm broadcasting on air. There's just no way. And that went for an entire night. Like I said, it is wild in Division III right now. And as a result, I'm now running late. And I got to talk about the guests we have on the show. Coming up, awesome conversation. CUA and Scranton? Yeah. Anna Scoblick for Catholic and Kaci Kranson from Scranton will be joining us briefly. They've been playing against each other since the 8th grade. We're going to talk about the fact that it could come to an end on Saturday because we don't know what the conference playoffs may look like. We'll talk to those two about the long history that they have had against one another on opposite teams. W&L coming up. Mary Schleusner and her head coach, Brittney Kemp, will join us, one of the best players in all of NCAA women's basketball. She's averaging a double-double with 16 rebounds and 21 points. Then Mount Union's, and by the way, W&L is still undefeated, so is Scranton. Mount Union's undefeated. They'll join us. Mike Fuline will talk about the Purple Raiders and how good they're playing in the OAC, especially. Then WestConn, get a smiley face because I ran out of O's. Guy Rancourt will join us, licking their wounds from a tough loss to Keene State last night. They'll talk about that and the rest of the Little East coming up. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com. Interact with us, ask us questions, do whatever you want. We'd love to chat with you here live on the show. Back with more when we come back from this break.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.D3Hoops.com.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit NABC.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC1927. That's NABC.com or NABC1927 on social media.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all.
It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us. All of us.
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team, Wade Trophy. The WBCA doesn't just honor coaches, but players, administrators, and much more. The WBCA strives to honor those who have contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. Celebrate the present, honor the past, look to the future.
I used to never really talk, ever. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. It helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. Hope you are doing well. I'm your host, Dave McHugh. Forgot to mention one thing. Later in the show, we'll talk about the NCAA convention going on. Already hearing some developments on some of the votes out there. Like one of them may have already been pulled from being voted on. No surprise. But we'll talk about some of the other controversial ones that D3 has to deal with. Those votes happen tomorrow. Business session was happening this morning. We'll see if we've gotten any updates. I'm not sure if we will, but that will be the end of the show. And if we have time, I might finally get to my 2 cents about some fan behavior that we've been dealing with in general, but especially this past Christmas at the D3Hoops.com Classic. Again, if you've got questions for us, tweet us at D3Hoopsville, email us at hoopsville@D3sports.com. If you're watching us on the stream, all the information is at the bottom. All right, let's talk about the unique opportunities in Division III, and they include the simple fact that sometimes you get an opportunity to essentially play against somebody you've known even in high school. Well, for these two, they not only knew each other in high school, they knew each other before high school in club, then played against each other, and then decided, yeah, we love playing against each other. Let's go to our rival schools and do that too. At least that's my version of the story. Let's see what their version of the story is. Joining us from Catholic and Scranton, it's Anna. Whoop, I put them in the wrong spot. I'll fix that. Anna Scoblick and Kaci Kranson. Right now, Kaci is Anna and Anna's Kaci. I haven't had enough coffee today. Ladies, good to see you. Welcome to the show. Thanks for taking the time. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm here. That's half the battle sometimes. Kaci's been on the show. She was on the show last year. Anna, I don't think we've gotten you on the show before, but thank you nonetheless. So, no. First and foremost, let's tell each other a little bit of the history here, because you were telling me a very brief synopsis of it earlier. Kaci, you two used to play with each other as teammates, right?
Yes. So long history with Anna. Sorry.
You're good.
No, so I started playing travel, I think it was in 5th grade, and I started off with Anna, and ironically, her dad and her aunt Kathy were the coaches, great coaches, learned a lot from them. And then fast forward to my freshman and sophomore year at the University of Scranton, her coach, or her aunt Kathy, was my assistant coach. But junior year of high school, we played on the same travel team too. So we have a long history of playing, against each other and on the same team.
What is it a little odd that this is not only a play against each other thing, but it's a bit of a family thing too?
I wouldn't say odd. Like, it was always fun to play with and against each other. And I feel like we've been doing it for so long. It was almost, I feel like, especially a joke our first few years, because we'd be like, oh, here we are playing again. I mean, Catholic and Scranton play each other a lot. We played each other a ton in high school. We played with each other a ton in high school.
And I'm curious, does that give you any advantage when you face Kaci because you just know everything she's done, or does it put you at a disadvantage because you don't want to rely on that too much?
I feel like obviously we always are trying to limit Kaci's impact, which is very hard to do.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, every game we just go in there, follow the game plan, and I don't know. We still manage to have fun, I think, even while being pretty competitive.
Kaci, what's it like that you know her and her family so well that you're going up against her, and you're trying to beat her and in some cases for a conference title.
Yeah. Anna is a tremendous player. She's definitely at the top of our scouting list each season. But she's grown us a great player each season. Her game has improved each season. So it's just very fun, playing against her all these years, and specifically going into our senior season. This is, one of the last times we're going to be playing against each other. So I'm just excited to get back out in the court and, compete against her. And then, after the game, see her family and just, catch up.
Well, that's the thing is I thought about, we could wait on this until February because they're likely to see each other in the conference tournament. But God forbid something wild happen, right? Somebody knocks you off and there's a surprise. E-Town's obviously a pretty good team this year, Susquehanna as well. So I didn't want to write that off. So we did it today because Saturday is the last regular season game. It's a little disappointing that's a game in January for you two, or one of the games you're going to have to play against each other. So how do you prep for it, Kaci? This is probably your biggest challenge in terms of staying undefeated, trying to stay on top of the conference standings, keep that number one spot. How do you prepare for Catholic? Is it different than other teams?
Yeah, so it's the Scranton and Catholic is a historic rivalry. So it's we're expecting a large crowd. But yeah, we don't really change our game plan. We kind of just go in with the same mindset. But yeah, we're just gonna be scouting out Catholic, watching some film on them. Sorry, and I don't mean to give up all our tips, but
no, go right ahead. Tell her everything.
Yeah, just practice the same way we've been. Keeping that same mindset. Going in with confidence. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough couple of days of practice starting today. So yeah, it's starting today and getting mentally prepared for that big game on Saturday.
Anna, from your perspective, obviously this is the big beast, right? Number 2 in the nation, the team that knocked off Pitt, even though it didn't technically count for Scranton. I like to rub that in. But this is the squad you essentially have to get through, right? So does it change your preparation versus anybody else in the conference?
I mean, like Kaci said, it's a pretty historic rivalry, and I think mentally is the most important thing. We know they always do a great job packing the gym. Everybody loves to come out and support their team. It's going to be a loud environment. It's going to be pretty crazy. And I think, again, as we do for other teams, and Kaci said, it's watching film, paying attention to the scout, drilling those repetitions in practice, and being mentally prepared to play smart basketball according to the game plan. But again, the environment is just something that you can only prepare for so much. And I think it's more about when we get down there, just getting to work, keeping the team together.
I was going to say, both environments are unique. Scranton's certainly one of those locations to see a game that is on everyone's list. Anna, what's it like to go in there and play? Their fan base is certainly excited for them. They drive the boat a lot of times, and then you got a good team to play on top of that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of familiar faces. Casey's family I know well. I always see them walking in the gym. Their smile, they're the best. A lot of my family can make up for that game, which is great. And that's the gym I played at a lot in high school. If we'd have a snow day, our high school coach would drive us there because it wouldn't be closed when we practiced there. So it's familiar going back. But again, we always know that it's going to be a super competitive game, and we're playing against some great players. So there's definitely a lot of focus too.
This is the part where you all tell each other what you know about the secrets of the other. And so you just give away all the X's and O's and the coaches get frustrated. So let's do that, right?
Of course.
Let's go back. What was it like? Well, actually, before I go back, I'm curious. Do you two ever end up playing against each other? And I asked that because I went through a ton of pictures trying to see if I could find one and could never find you two next to each other on the floor. Are you ever lined up with one another necessarily?
I feel like usually we are, so I'm kind of surprised that there wasn't a picture. But I feel like more often than not, I would say, right?
Yeah, definitely. Maybe we could find a picture.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to go back. Maybe I just missed one. All right, let's go back. Again, you played with each other and against each other. What was it like, Kaci, to have Anna as a teammate? You're both guards, but having watched you two, you do play in different styles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we kind of play similarly, in the sense of in high school, I feel like we played more of a guard type way. And I think we transitioned going into college more of a forward, which I feel like similarly, like we play, under the basket more than we did traditionally in high school. But yeah, even in high school, we kind of were matched up against each other, playing against each other. So it's just exciting to see like going into one of these last games playing against her, just to have fun and enjoy the moment, going against her and, spending the time with her family, because her family has meant a lot to me over these past couple of years, specifically her Aunt Kathy. She's been such a role model and a great mentor for me. So I'm just happy to see her and excited to see her on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely a different dynamic. Anna, from your perspective, did you, I assume you enjoyed playing with Kaci more than necessarily playing against her, but you've played against her more than you've played with her. What's been that dynamic like?
I mean, obviously the last year that we played together, we had a great AU team and that was so much fun. We were winning big games, we were traveling to cool places, and we were just a great team. But then again, like she said, playing against each other, we were often matched up. And I think it's been really cool to see the transition, like she said, of how our game styles have changed. We've both grown and gone on to have like pretty awesome college careers. And I think it's kind of full circle. Again, being matched up against her as a freshman in high school to a freshman in college, and now a senior in high school and a senior in college. I think it's just pretty cool for us to see like each other's paths there and what we've each done with it.
Now you point out that guard/forward thing, Kaci. When I put you into the graphic initially, I put forward, then I looked you up just to double check some numbers, and you listed as a guard, and I'm like, come on. I've seen her play forward more than guard.
I know that's what I was listed. I actually came in as a guard, and then freshman year, one of our bigs got hurt, and then I transitioned into a forward.
Yeah, it's funny how as a PA announcer, a lot of times I'll have someone written down as a guard. I'm like, no, they're not. They're a forward, but it's what they're listed. Kaci, I'm forgetting. Have you been with Ben the entire time as a coach, or did you have a coaching change?
No, I came in with Coach O'Brien.
Okay, you did come in with O'Brien. Okay, so you both have been there with the same coach the entire time. I'm curious, obviously we don't need the dirt, but Kaci, from your perspective, what has Ben O'Brien brought with this program that's allowed you all to be so good? What do you guys feed off of him?
Yeah, something about him is he shows up every single day, no matter the circumstance. He just brings a lot to this table. Going back, this is a historic, program coming back from Coach Strong. So, he had some big shoes to fill, and he's filling those pretty well. But yeah, he just is so prepared in every circumstance of the game. He does a great job with the scouting. He's really an overall great coach to have. He's good on the mental aspect, and he just is very good with the words that he brings to the table, before games, halftime. He's just a great mentor for all of us.
Yeah, you got recruited by one, and then you end up playing for another. Quick question, what's that like? Because obviously you never played for one and had to transition, but you got sold on Scranton. Was it because of the coach, or was it because of the program?
So I don't know if you remember this, but I actually came to Scranton for softball.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yes. So I was coming here originally to play softball, not basketball. And Coach O'Brien called me in the summer when he got the job to play both. And I was going to do it, and then it just became too much. So then I ended up deciding to just only play basketball. But looking back on it, I think it was probably the best decision I've made. Just very grateful to be here and be a part of this program.
1,600 points later. I don't know if Anna and Catholic agree. I think they rather had you stick with softball.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Anna, you've had Matt Donahue for forever. He's been there a long time as a head coach. Well, what's it like to play under Matt?
Yeah, I love playing for Coach Donahue. I think he just creates an environment of like hard work. And I mean, I speak to also the assistants. I've had a bunch of assistants and graduate assistants over the years. We practice late at night, pretty much every night. And I mean, we text those coaches. They spend, I think, 12 hours in the gym a day, working us out in the mornings, like being here for lifts, doing everything. And then from Coach Donahue's perspective, I feel like his office is an open door. Like, he's such a good communicator, and I feel like he really fosters an environment where we can communicate with him and he communicates with us what we need to do to succeed as a group.
Been waiting to ask this question for a while. Anna, I'm curious why Catholic and not maybe Scranton or something close to home. I actually found it interesting that if you played against each other and had been teammates, you didn't end up on the same team in college.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, I think it's just a great environment. Like, I feel like Yeah, it definitely wasn't anything against any of my former teammates. Like,
Oh, sure, no.
I would have loved to have done that for many more years. I think, I mean, I was looking at a lot of different places. There's so many options when you're going through the recruiting process, and I kind of had an inclination that I maybe wanted to be farther from home. And Coach Donahue was actually a pretty close friend of my high school coach, Coach Deanna Klingman. So she kind of pushed me in this direction and said, I think you should look at it there. It seems like it would be a good fit from you. And I visited here and I loved it immediately. And I think I pretty much knew from that moment.
Well, the interesting twist there is Klingman used to be the interim head coach at Scranton for that 1 year. And the choice that she was left was whether she could, or it's a complicated story, but basically she wanted to be able to still teach so she could keep hold of her status for retirement and coach Scranton. It didn't work out. It started a whole mess, a chain of events, including Trevor Woodruff becoming the head coach, and then that ultimately Ben O'Brien being there. And Anna, in your case, you end up with one of the better women's coaches. The Klingman family in general is an insane family of coaches up there. And of course, Goucher men's basketball has their son, and there's another team in the region. I can't remember where he is. That's coached.
The son at Goucher was an assistant at Catholic for a year while I was there too. And one of her other sons coached for the soccer team at Catholic.
Right. And
but her husband works in the athletics department at Scranton. So they're a split family too.
Oh, yeah. And now he's coaching soccer somewhere else now as head coach. I can't remember where he is. I think he's in the Centennial, but my brain is just not working fully right now. Yeah, no, absolutely insane. It's this Northeast PA thing, right? Like, first off, I know it from rural Maine. Everyone knows everyone. And second of all, you get these deep-rooted families who are really good at some things, and you two both have had that experience. Kaci from Anna's family and Anna from the Klingman family. It's really fascinating. It's bittersweet that it may be coming to an end. As it comes to an end, the future's in mind. Anna, what are you majoring first off, and what are you hoping to do post-graduation?
So I'm majoring in English with a pre-law minor, and in a couple weeks from now, I'll be taking my LSAT, which is the law school admissions test, and I'll be applying in September and hoping to attend in 2 Septembers.
Got it. And any school in mind yet?
No, I think I'll probably apply to a bunch, but haven't thought that far yet.
Smart plan. Kaci, what's your major? What are your plans?
So I'm majoring in criminal justice, and in the next couple of weeks, I'll be taking, law enforcement entrance exams. So hopefully to, become a law enforcement officer, police officer.
I was going to say police, local, other ideas.
Yeah, I'm taking local, like the Scranton test and the Pennsylvania State Police exam.
Got it. Fascinating. You two, it's crazy that it's coming to an end. I've gotten so used to seeing the two of you on the floor. And I realize, again, we got a lot of season left. This isn't the last game, as it were. But it could be the last one in terms of you two facing off against each other. Anna, is it better that it's up at Scranton because of the family connections, or do you kind of wish this one was at home?
It's always fun to return and see all the familiar faces, but they definitely pack the gym there, and it's a super loud environment. And I mean, obviously, like, you're an awesome player, and like, you guys are a great team, and I do think they know how to feed off their home energy. So I think we like getting them at home maybe a little better, but we're excited. We're excited to take the trip down.
Kaci, how do you guys feed off that crowd? Is it conscious or is it subconscious?
Kind of like you said, an EPA is just a community tight-knit aspect. We have individuals that travel with us to every single game. Even when we go to Florida. So it's something that's, special you don't really see often. But yeah, we like to feed off, the energy off our fans, our families. We're just trying to play for them and, play for ourselves. But yeah, I think we definitely do take off that energy and just, leave it all out on the court.
Also, another interesting thing, Catholic men's team's been playing well for a number of years now. So Anna, you're used to having the men's program be just as good as you, but Kaci, the men's program kind of took a little bit of a lull. They seem to be right back into the conversation, especially in the conference. What's that dynamic like when the men's programs, Kaci, are playing well versus when they're not, compared to yourselves?
Yeah, this year the men's team has really stepped it up. They're in the gym constantly trying to get better. But it's just really nice to see that they're back at work, their potential. Because my freshman year, they won the Landmark with us. So that was really cool to have, two Landmark teams, or two Scranton teams win it. But it's just nice to see because they're all great guys. They work extremely hard every single day. So it's nice to see that, they're back at their top performance.
Anna, what's the dynamic like down there in DC?
A lot like Kaci said, the guys are always in the gym. They're always working out, and they have been a team that is consistently, again, like us, in those Landmark playoff moments. They won one, I think, 2 years ago. They're definitely, they've played a great schedule. I feel like they've played a ton of top 10, top 5 teams, and they've shown out really well. So we're excited for them. Similar to how I think they're excited for us, but they've been playing some great basketball, and that's always fun to see. And I think it's motivating. It's a good feeling when all 6 baskets in the gym are down and they're all taken by either some of the women's team or some of the men's team.
Nice little rivalry too. I'm sure both of your teams could beat them, right? Yeah. No, I know.
They would say no.
No, I know. I know. I've been there. I've seen it. Ladies, thanks so much for your time. Looking forward to this one. We should point out there is one more game at the very end of the season that they'll play against each other, but I didn't want to wait that long. I didn't want to risk things. This is more important. So I did forget about that last game, but it is the final game of the regular season will be down in DC. Ladies, thanks for your time. We have a tradition on the show. Kaci knows it well, so we'll lead with her. We always give the guests the final word. Any final thoughts you want to share with those who may be tuned in?
I just really appreciate you taking the time out to have me and Anna on the show. Anna, good luck Saturday. Can't wait to see you and your family. Very excited. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really good competitive game.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you, Kaci, for taking the time. It was great to catch up with you, and I look forward to Saturday. Good luck.
Hey, you too. Thanks again. Good luck, as I said, and I'm looking forward to watching myself. And enjoy the rest of the season, too, and enjoy the rest of your senior years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kaci Kranson Anna Scoblick joining us here on the Hoopsville Hotline. Yeah, they do have that final game of the year. I didn't want to wait that long. God forbid something happens between now and then. Good to chat with them. Talk about tight circle, right? All those little interweaves. That's what makes not only Division III so great, but basketball in general so great, especially in those small knit areas. Maine, Northeast Pennsylvania, a lot of Pennsylvania, Indiana, a lot of these states. That's a very common story. When we come back, we'll talk to one of the best players in Division III, if not of all NCAA, and her coach down at W&L. We'll talk to the Generals, Mary Schleusner and Brittney Kemp. Join us. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3 Hoops. Back with more after this.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that. A lot more.
Sure, the game is important. But as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics. And in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
We are the coaches of women's basketball. We are leaders and teachers, dreamers and winners. We are professionals who conduct ourselves ethically and with integrity. We place the education, safety, and well-being of the athletes we coach above all else and teach them the fundamental values they need to succeed in life. We are coaches united for the good of our game and those who play it. We are the WBCA.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit nabc.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC1927. That's nabc.com or NABC1927 on social media.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
There are over 480,000 college athletes. Only 2% would go pro. That means over 470,000 will not get a shoe contract. No autographs. No private jets. No fan clubs. No Hall of Fame inductions. Instead, they will walk away with something much more valuable.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. The last thing I heard is, I'm so excited. It's Hoopsville. Don't be excited. This is just a dumb hobby of mine. That's from the guest. Don't worry. We're getting to her. If you got questions for us, email us hoopsville@d3sports.com. You can tweet us at D3Hoopsville or hashtag Hoopsville. I apologize. I wasn't paying attention to the live stream. I am now. If you got questions there, you can join us there as well. And I'll keep track of the email. I was doing so, and then I walked away from it, and now I got to go back to it. This is why I need a producer, darn it. I got to do better. Thanks for joining us. We're live, still ahead. Men's basketball with Mount Union and WestConn, Western Connecticut. But we still got to talk to one of the best players in all of NCAA, in my opinion, women's basketball, Mary Schleusner, and her head coach, Brittney Kemp. Remember, we talked to Schleusner a couple of years ago. W&L certainly went on a run that year, narrowly got to the Final Four in the NCAA tournament. Didn't work out as well last year. They still got the NCAA tournament. I have a feeling they've got bigger goals in mind this year, and they're playing like it, undefeated, sitting at number 6 in the latest D3Hoops.com top 25, but this time with a different head coach. What does it all mean? How do you all break it down, et cetera, et cetera? Well, let's go to the Hoopsville hotline and ask them. Joining us there, it is Mary Schleusner and her head coach, Brittney Kemp. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Totally. Yeah, Mary's clearly excited. In fact, I'm having some coffee. I'm thinking she's had too much.
Mm-hmm. I've had 3 cups of coffee today.
That answers it. All right, let's get this out of the way too, by the way. I want that shirt. Mary, that is the best W&L shirt I have ever seen in my life.
Everybody needs this shirt. We're not Washington Lee, we're W&L. I'm so happy to rep it. This brand means the world to me.
It's awesome. Who came up with it?
I don't know who came up with it, but it's sort of like if you know anything about W&L, you know this shirt. My grandpa had to send it out over Christmas, and he was like, W&L. And I'm like, yes, sir, that's it, W&L.
That is brilliant. I don't know if you'd have a size for me, unfortunately, but that's okay. I'm going to just live vicariously through you, Mary.
I'll send one over.
Coach is representing the regular look, and which I appreciate that as well. Hey, first and foremost, congratulations on this season. I know expectations were high because I get this feeling, Mary, that you all didn't get done last year what you wanted to, having gotten nearly the Final Four the year before. So is that driving this ship right now?
I think, yeah, that is partially driving the ship. We definitely thought we could go further last year. But I think the biggest thing is that we're just having fun this year. Like every practice, every game, every locker room, every bus ride is a privilege. And I think everybody recognizes that. The senior class is so special. There's 7 of us. So recognizing this is it for us and with the team, everybody just never sort of wants to get off that train. And we're super happy to be here. So taking each game one game at a time and having fun while doing so.
Coach, you came in and took over this program after they made that run. Not that that's a lot of pressure or anything, but you also get to take over a talent like Mary's as well. That had to have been an opportunity that you're drooling with, but at the same time, I'm sure you had higher expectations too.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a year of getting to know each other, building that trust, building a different type of system, but also really embracing who they already were and are. I mean, I knew I was taking over a talented team. I got very lucky in the department of taking over a wonderful group of humans. So I think that has been the most joyful experience. And we definitely want to take this day by day because I definitely don't want this ride to end.
Yeah, it's been amazing so far. Again, 14-0. Obviously, conference play's gone well at 5-0 in a conference that, Mary, I would argue, has gotten more competitive since you got there.
100%. When I came in as a freshman, the seniors, we hadn't won an ODAC since 2013, but the seniors were basically like, this should be easy. We should be able to get through the conference. And freshman and sophomore year, we got a little harder. Now, I mean, we're looking at Shenandoah was ranked. Randy Mack made it pretty far last year and hosted with that too. I'm just very proud to be in a conference that is so competitive. I think it's fun. I think it gives us a lot of opportunity to get better in conference play before we hopefully get to the big dance. So very excited to be part of the ODAC.
Did you just call Randolph-Macon Randy Mack?
Yes.
I've heard of a lot of nicknames for them.
WNL,
Macon.
Randy Mack.
I know. I hadn't heard Randy Mack. I've been around this conference a while.
Yes.
That's not going away. It's not going away.
Rolls off the tongue.
Next time they go on the show, that might end up on the tote board.
Yes.
Is it 2 Ds or is it one? Is this RANDY? Is it IE?
Ooh, spelling strong suit there.
It's RANDY -MAC.
Okay, we can work with that.
Name, but you may have to ask some of them.
I need that on a shirt too, by the way. I'm going to need Randy Mack on a shirt too, just for the record.
I might just stick to my WNL shirt, but
no, I didn't say you needed to make it.
Yeah.
No. I'm not asking you to do their marketing. Yeah, I mean, Coach, there's only 2 teams with records below 500 right now overall. Now there's some of those are 1-4 in conference play, so we can maybe talk about their out of conference. But still, there's only 2 teams with records below 500. Yourselves, Bridgewater, Shenandoah, Randy Mack, Guilford, and Hollins all have records with more than 10 wins. This is probably the most competitive I've seen this conference.
Yeah, it's been really fun. Honestly, every game, I think it's turned into a little bit of a bit on my team, but I say it's the most important and biggest game of the year every game. But I really mean that. I think everyone in this conference is capable of getting you on their best night. And I feel like the coaches in this league are really strong and the players are great and everyone wants to beat everyone. And it just makes it really fun and competitive. And I mean, in the past, I've been part of great conferences, and when you're not part of great conferences, when the bottom can't get the top, and it makes it just less enjoyable, and you have to show up to different games in different ways. But we get the luxury of having to show up the same way every single day, and I think that makes us stronger as a team by March.
What's wild is Randy Mack, I'm just not going away, got absolutely handled last night by Shenandoah, 67-42. But you're going up next against a squad in Bridgewater that is now tied atop the conference, has had a tough results themselves. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't even know what to think of it because this is not the ODAC I remember.
Yeah, and Randolph-Macon, that score wasn't indicative of the team that they are.
No,
I think
clearly
they are. Yeah, and I mean, they're going to show up for us, and I mean, they might even have a stronger chip on their shoulder coming into Saturday. I know we do from last year's results. So we're excited. I think she's a great coach, Lindsay, over there. And I think she's going to give us her best shot and have their best game plan ready. So we are definitely not coming into that lightly after the Shenandoah win last night. And we're excited, again, one game at a time. Then we have Guilford after that. But Bridgewater, equally strong. Again, another great coach and Coach Flamini. And I think we just have to continue to battle and put out our best game and our best work every single day.
Yeah, so Bridgewater up, and then Guilford, who was undefeated at one point. Conference has stubbed their toe, but they're still 3-2. Roanoke, who at this juncture, maybe 7-7, but you don't want to overlook, I know. Fouled by Virginia Wesleyan, fouled by Randolph. Like, it's never ending, Mary. To Coach's point, it is every game's important. How do you make sure that doesn't become just a phrase or something that you can overlook or brush aside?
Well, it was becoming a phrase for just a second. And then we realized how serious it was, and it sort of just goes beyond, this is our most important game. We sort of had like twisted the meaning in our heads. It's now that just be where your feet are and know that every team is different, but regardless, they're going to give you their best shot. And I think we've seen that so far. We can't undermine any of these teams. Like you said, I'm very nervous for Randy Mack, very nervous for Guilford, Roanoke, Bridgewater. I'm very excited to play all of them, but they're great teams. And I am a little scared, but I just think like using that phrase and being where our feet are means go into it and turn that nervous, excited, nervitedness into playing well and just channeling that. Because if you're not nervous, it means you don't care. So I think everybody is just grateful to be in a position where they do want to win these games, and we're coming into it, and like every gym is different. So we're going to walk in and act like it. New gym, same standard though.
Granted, the first game, will be at your place, but you're at Guilford, then back at home against Roanoke, but then on the road for Virginia Wesleyan and Randolph-Macon. And just, Mary, you don't have to get used to this, but Brittany, remember, it'll be Baton next year.
Yes,
I've already been reminded Baton University of Marlins is BUM. I don't think anybody thought that through.
Wow.
Yeah, just a slight note, Mary. Compose yourself. Hey, let's talk about Mary. Sophomore, obviously freshman year coming out party, National Rookie of the Year, honorable mention All-American by the WBCA, co-rookie of the region. We all knew she was a good player, but then sophomore year, she broke the NCAA tournament record for rebounds in a game with 33, ODAC program records for rebounds in a game with that same number, tournament records for rebounds in a game with 29 in the ODAC, and tournament record for 80 points and 71 rebounds in the entire tournament, set program records for points per game, rebounds per game. Sorry, we only have a few minutes. Field goals made, free throw attempts, blocks, all in a season. That was her sophomore year. Junior year, broke the ODAC career total rebound record, which she's still rewriting every time she walks on the floor. Broke the career points record at W&L. Junior year, folks. Broke the career block record. Broke the program career total rebounds, and broke the single season record for total rebounds per game. You get my point. Senior year is just about rewriting the record book. Brittany, what's it like to coach a player who thought, I might be a cross-country person in D1?
Good memory.
It's funny because did you see how that was the first time she got quiet the entire time we've been on here?
I did, and she's still quiet.
I think it's fascinating. I think what's the most special about Mary and getting to work with her every single day is that she is the most humble and selfless leader I've ever had the pleasure of working with. I think she cares more about her teammates and the success of others, and she can touch on our theme this year, which has been Mudita. And I think she embodies that, and she is someone that would rather see success of the team and her teammates than herself. And that's why she just is such a joy. And she comes like this every single day to practice. She holds herself to a high standard, but she has fun while she does it. And it makes it a really fun environment to be a part of, because when your best player who can do all these things exceptionally in the numbers is also having fun and working hard and making everyone else around her better. Who wouldn't want a day in the office like that every single day?
Okay, Mary, we'll let you get off the hook to start this by saying, what does Coach mean by the motto?
Mudita is our motto of this year. It means vicarious joy in the success found in the success of others. So you should be just as happy and feel that energy and be as excited if somebody else scores as if it were your own basket. And for me, and I think this goes without saying for a lot of other people, like we feel more excited when other people score. My favorite games are the one when the rock is moving and everybody's firing from all cylinders and they're making it. It can't get any more fun than that, I don't think. And so we took it from Alabama women's softball, and we have just been using it every practice ever since. We have Mudita moments where, you sort of talk about a teammate that has shown it, they don't even know if they've shown it a lot of times. And I think that's what's so special about it. So I really love it. I think it's the perfect way for how to end my career here at WNL in my final season, but more so it's such a good reflection of the past 3 years, because every year there has been Mudita. We just haven't put a label on it. When I was a freshman, it was probably, I can't imagine what it felt like to be a senior and to have a freshman come in and not know anything, but can jump pretty high and run pretty fast. But they led me to it. They taught me everything I know. It was all of the guards teaching me how to shoot. I learned post moves from them. So every step of the way, I've learned something from the people who came before me and the people who are younger than me too. So I'm just very grateful to be in a program like this where lifelong learning and we can celebrate each other.
Yeah, and I want to add to that too. I think we are so lucky, and I think Mary would say this as well, but we have the best senior class. And I know she kind of mentioned this, but Quinn, Sarah, Elka, Katie, Icy, Campbell, our manager. I'm missing somebody.
Me, Quinn.
Sarah, Quinn, Icy, Katie, Elka, Campbell, Mary. Oh,
yes.
It's you. How could I forget you? They are just the best group. And I think that they really are the central part of our Mudita. And I think, I say this all the time, but Quinn's the best point guard in the country. She's our engine. Mary's our heart. I could give them each a label, but they are the heart of this whole team. And we have the best junior, sophomore, and freshman class that are really coming around that. And I think that's when you have a special group, is when you have all the pieces, but also the love for each other. And I think love of your teammates really carries this team past where they might even be capable of going. And I think we've really just embraced that this year and bought into it. And, we did a Zoom with Coach Pat Murphy over at Alabama. Shout out Mary's dad, who kind of set her on to this. And we were really lucky and fortunate to meet with him. But his mission, his statement, it really fueled the start of the season. And I think we've been running with it ever since.
Yeah, you could take that motto, open up a book, look it up, and I bet Mary's picture's right next to it. It's one of the rare athletes when I look up for pictures or I'm sent pictures, there's always a smile on her face. Maybe not when the ball's in her hand. That might be the exception.
It's a very, very, I do not know what happens in 4 years later.
No athlete does, Mary.
It's not even me. I don't recognize myself.
No, I got told by people that I used to chew on my cheek when I was playing the piano. I didn't believe them until someone actually took a picture of it. Yeah. And then when I played sports, I would do weird things with my fingers. Didn't believe it until someone took a picture. I get it. It's weird things. Brittney, here's something that jumps out at me about Mary and the point you were just making. Freshman year, 14.2 points a game. Sophomore, 23.9, 21.6 her junior, 21.2 her junior year. A little bit of a drop off, but nothing staggering. But I bring that up because I then go to something else. Blocks are down this year, probably because people are avoiding her. Let's be honest. 105 blocks her sophomore year, 87 her junior. No one's going to go near her anymore. But assists, 2.0 freshman, 2.3 sophomore, 2.6 junior, 3.2 senior. personal fouls, 72 total freshmen, 82 sophomore, 82 junior, 18 senior year, and no foul out. She has 8 total. Those things, to me, jump out. Oh, no, the rebounding numbers are down again. If she's not near the ball and they're not shooting near her, it changes that. But those two things, assists and personal fouls, Brittney, that tells me a ton about growth, but also teammates.
Yeah, and you know what, one more too, I'd say, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure the numbers match this, but the turnovers, especially in the big games, the big moments.
Oh, yeah, they're huge.
And
Good
for
point.
someone that is a point center, honestly, who brings the ball.
127 last year, 35 this year.
Yeah, for someone that touches the ball as much as she does in the open court, right? It'd be one thing if she was just a back to the basket player, but for someone to bring the ball up and to find her teammates in those assist category, to not have turnovers, I mean, even just from the 1 year coaching her growth and her want to get better every day. And I mean, it'd be easy to say, you know what, I do what I do, and that's good enough for everyone. But she has taken her game, and I would say, I mean, I think she's the best player in the country, and I think you can battle for other people, but I think the most well-rounded, the person that finds her open teammates, takes care of the ball in the open court, takes care of the ball back to the basket. I would say blocks her down also because she's really focused in on defending people one-on-one and staying down and keeping them in front of her. And I think her defense has taken a ginormous jump up as well. And I would attribute that to the lack of blocks, but also the fouling. Again, that's another testament to her defense, but she finds her open teammates. She just is such a well-rounded player. And again, she really wants everyone around her to do well. You will never find a point in the game where Mary could have 0 points and she would still have a giant smile on her face if we were winning and her teammates were doing well. And I think you could say that about people, but it's just so true for her. And I think that's what makes it just even more special. And anyone that knows her will, I believe, vouch for that too.
Love how you say 0 points. The lowest she's had this year is 10 against Southern Virginia. But I get what you mean. Mary, we're unfortunately running out of time, but what's this evolution been like?
Like you said, a lot of growth, a lot of conversation with my dad and Mr. McGinnis, and a lot of watching Quinn McGinnis and how she makes decisions on the court. Like I said, like Coach Kemp said, I don't think there is another point guard in the country. I mean, she passes, she sees everything. And Caroline Schimpf has insane basketball IQ. And just watching them and how they just are composed and handle the ball. I threw the ball everywhere last year, always, most times, into the opponent's hands, which was not very helpful to me. But just being smart this year, trying to be composed. I'm a senior, so I can't really be turning it over and fouling everybody out the wazoo. And I think I recognize that, and I'm trying to settle it down a bit. But like I said, just watching everybody on my court, and like they're getting open for me. They make it so easy for me to look like I'm a good basketball player. The other night when I had a good game versus Shenandoah, the truth is I was just getting dish passes and I was doing a Mike and drill, and I was just right below the basket, and I got pretty lucky. And I'm glad that there's an assist category for that, but I think there should be a much larger recognition because really I just had to put it up. But I appreciate you saying that though, because I really have been working on not turning it over and finding the open pass.
Good game against Shenandoah. You scored 36. You pulled down, 13 boards? No, 17 boards. 2 assists, 2 blocks. Yeah, I think it was a good night. Just off the top of my head. Shot 58% from the floor. Stop it. I got to let you two go. Unfortunately, we're going to have to find a way to have a longer conversation. Maybe we'll do an off-court podcast with you. But Mary, quickly, let everybody know, business administration, strategic communication major. I know you spent a couple of months in Spain in summer of 24. What's your plans when you got to hang this up? Would you go overseas and play?
Maybe. I wish I had an answer for you.
You're the type of player they'd love.
No idea. I would love to know what I'm going to do, but I don't at all. Worked at the bank this summer and wasn't for me. I need to move around a little bit more with my life.
Oh, Mary, I can relate to that like you would not believe. I was a business major and I went and did some business stuff and went, no!
Whatever Mary decides to do, she's going to crush it and everyone around her will benefit from it. So once she figures that out, then the world is her oyster. But until then, she's crushing WNL.
Yeah, no, good point. Well, yeah, exactly. Show the shirt. Folks, if you're watching the archive, go find the video. You got to check this shirt out. I cannot do it justice. It's brilliant. We have a tradition on this show. Brittany, you may not be as aware as Mary is. We always give the guests the final word. Who wants to go first? Any final thoughts? We want to hear final thoughts from both of you.
I'll go first because I think Mary closing's better. I want to thank you for having us and thank you for all you do for D3 Hoops. I get to watch. I know my husband watches all the time.
I'm
so
sorry.
I really appreciate it. And, we are just happy to be here. We're happy to be living in this moment, being where our feet are, having Mudita and enjoying the ride with this team because it's a special group. And I can't wait to see what we continue to do together.
Awesome. And shout out to your husband.
I love that.
Hi, Todd.
Well done.
I guess I'll say thank you so much for having us. People like you and all of our sports information staff here make us feel like superstars. I think D3 is incredible. I love playing against everybody, love women's basketball, love the coaches, love my teammates. Couldn't be happier, feel like the luckiest girl in the world sometimes that this is my life. Feels like a dream, and go W now. Go Jennies.
So much better than D1 cross country, right?
Hey,
yes.
Yeah. Still can't believe that was your mentality.
Same.
Hey, you all. Thank you very much for your time. We'll be in touch. Good luck the rest of the season and take care of yourselves.
Thank
you.
Mary
Go
Schleusner and Brittney Kemp join us on the Hoopsville hotline. Mary's probably one of the favorite guests I've ever had. Love chatting with her. We're going to find an excuse to get her on sometime in the future. They're 14-0, 6-0, and 5-0 in conference play. Big game against Bridgewater coming up on Saturday. We'll take a break. When we come back, Mike Fuline's waiting for us. We're going to talk to another undefeated team in Ohio. It's the Purple Raiders of Mount Union. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3 Hoops. Back with so much more when we come back.
It's on us to stop sexual assault
in any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all.
It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us, all of us.
To stop sexual assault. Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
We are the coaches of women's basketball. We are leaders and teachers, dreamers and winners. We are professionals who conduct ourselves ethically and with integrity. We place the education, safety, and well-being of the athletes we coach above all else, and teach them the fundamental values they need to succeed in life. We are coaches united for the good of our game and those who play it. We are the WBCA.
I learned a lot of valuable lessons playing college football. I never thought about the health benefits of exercise until I actually started to talk to coaches in college. It's not only just for performance, it's for life. My coaches instilled the importance of well-being, not only building up strength, mental health, getting enough sleep, eating properly is all what it is to be healthy. I decided that I want to go into personal trainer and share my knowledge that I obtained in college about physical and mental well-being.
We are calling you, all of you. We are calling all Division III schools to join our cause.
It's on us to start the change. It's on us to be the change. It's on us. It's on Division III. It's on all of us to stop sexual assault.
Welcome back to. Oh, there I am. My audio is there. That was weird. Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. I'm your host, Dave McHugh. I'll be honest, two awesome segments already with Kaci Kranson at Scranton and Anna Scoblick at CUA and Mary Schleusner and Brittney Kemp at WNL. We're actually running behind because of it. If you missed those two segments, must watch, much listen to, go back, take a listen. Wonderful. No pressure, though, on the rest of our guests. I'm just saying those are the kind of segments that keep me wanting to do this kind of show. Love talking to Division III coaches. Love talking to the student athletes when we get an opportunity, and it continues. If you got questions for us, email us, hoopsville@d3sports.com. Somebody in the chat saying on YouTube, fun interview, all the best ladies in the season. I came in during the WNL interview, but he may have been referencing the first one too. You can also tweet us at D3Hoopsville or hashtag Hoopsville. We're paying attention to the Twitter sphere. Great stuff today. Mike Fuline of Mount Union has got an undefeated team under his belt. I tried to look up the last time they got this far into a season undefeated. Didn't have enough patience, to be honest with you. But even their 30-3 season, where they made it to the Final Four, didn't have this kind of start at 16-0, 7-0 in OAC play. Granted, a different OAC. We're still getting used to the fact that John Carroll's not in this conference. Doesn't make it less of an accomplishment by any stretch of the imagination. You still got to play who you play. And the OAC is a tough conference, as we know. Otterbeин's having a great season at 13-2, 5-1 in conference play. Muskegon, who we've had on this show, 12-3, 4-2. Ohio Northern is no slouch. All right, I'm done with my spiel. Let's hear from Mike and what his spiel is. Joining us on the Hoopsville hotline, it is the aforementioned Mike Fuline. Good to see you, sir. How are you?
David, as always, great to see you. Thanks for putting the pressure on me here with these.
Yeah, and I didn't. They did. Good luck.
You're right.
Hey, again, I don't know. I couldn't tell. I obviously could have spent more time figuring this out, but last time you all, has it happened where you're out the gate 16-0 in program?
You know, I think when we got to 11-0, they had said that's the best start since 1926. So they even kept records way back then. So yeah, it's a great start for our team. I would be lying to you if I said I saw this one coming, or any of us sort of did. But once the fall started and the team activities started to grow, and you just saw a team full of just energy, just freshness, energy, excited about playing, empathy for teammates. It was kind of cool to see that. Losing Christian Parker and the seniors we did last year, that's a tough deal to lose when you just rely on those guys for so long, and they had so many great accomplishments for us. But I think these guys were ready, right? It was their turn to kind of step up. And like I said, I'd be lying to say if we saw it coming, but they keep growing. We're still not anywhere near a finished product. We're still have to really fine tune a lot of things on both sides of the ball, but they have been very enjoyable to be around and to coach.
It is the best mark in program history. You mentioning it goes back. Your win over Ohio Northern to make you 11-0 surpassed the best mark, as you said, in the 25-26 season, which was 10-0. So we've now just destroyed that record by 1.5 miles. What's interesting is, Mike, I feel like the 30-3 season was a slow burn to that point, right? We knew you were getting progressively better. In 19, you guys were 22-6. In 20, you were 27-3. Obviously, COVID hit, but you were there 23-5 in 22. And then you had that run to 30-3, Final Four. What an amazing experience, right?
Yeah.
You go to the following year, you lose, obviously, all of that incredible talent. You're still 20-7, then 18-9 last year. Admittedly, I didn't see this coming, especially with the talent you said you lost there. And I know what you talk about in terms of seeing it all come together, but what's it been on the floor that's been working so well?
Well, it's a little comparable to 2023, where you just knew we were going to be pretty good defensively. We have some great length, and because of that, we keep ourselves in games. We are a work in progress as usual on the offensive side. So we just stress, just guard, just play as hard as you can. I think, Dave, what separates us too a little bit right now is just our depth. We can play 11 to 12 guys, how hard that is to do. But when we do sub, especially like even last night in the second half, we're kind of like dragging a little bit after the first 4-minute timeout, and we sub 3 or 4 guys in, and it's just an instant boost of energy. And that's what's really propelled us. We've had some lapses, and those guys have come in and did a tremendous job. And so those are the major things. I think the way we guard, our depth, and then just the ability, you know how it is. You just have to fight that disease of me every single day. We talk about it, right? We confront it every single day, and just put the ownership on them. Like, we're here as a coaching staff to support you, but this is your chapter, man. And we're here to help you out. Let's not screw it up ourselves. And so far, so good.
What jumps out at me, though, is the youth of this team.
Yeah.
It's a sophomore in Chase Kasenheiser leading the team in scoring at 19.5 points a game, shooting 49%, 44% from deep, 82% free throw shooter, also hands out nearly 4 assists per game. Pulls down 4 boards a game, but is second on the team in assists with 43 out of 16 games. Then you've got a junior in Eliza Farrington, who's 15 points a game, 7.5 boards per contest. Another junior in Kevin Hamilton, 14 points a game, and both of them Farrington's 57% from the floor. You got to get to Kevin Moore at 7.9 points a game before you hit your first senior. And I know it's not about the future, but my larger point is it's the underclassmen who figured it out.
They have. It starts with Chance, and he's been phenomenal for us. He's a young guy that I've known since he's been about 8 years old. He's was on my son's AAU team growing up. They're really good friends. He's at my house all the time. So he plays with such an edge and passion for basketball. It's something that I enjoy and respect out of him. And he's been phenomenal, and I think Elijah has been as well. He went through a little lapse with some injuries he was battling over the Christmas break, but it's really come on. And so when you have those two that kind of lead it, they have to be consistent. We had one transfer this year, Dave, and that was Kevin Hamilton. He was a little guard out of Akron, Ohio. We recruited him out of high school. He spent a year in Arkansas, then a year at Youngstown State. And he came in and just was another ball handler for us. And his ability to shoot and defend has really propelled us as well. But I'm telling you, it's what people, who don't follow us, and I understand, don't realize is we lost Caleb Lorge last year as a junior after the third game. He broke his collarbone for the season, which put so much pressure on Christian Parker to guard the post, where he was kind of like our main defensive guy. Him being back as well as Kevin Moore, who is one of the coolest kids I've coached in all my years, and the way they guard has been uplifting as well.
Yeah, you're allowing only 69 points a game while scoring more than 83 points. That stands out in terms of that defensive mentality. Shooting percentage is interesting. You're allowing 40% and 32% from beyond the arc. Not horrible numbers, but from what I'm reading, it looks like you're limiting opportunities. You're probably wearing from watching you, you're wearing the shot clock down defensively, and you're not giving up a lot of second chance opportunities either, and you're out rebounding your opponents. Not by a ton, though.
Right. Well, here's what I tell you. Those percentages were a lot better until about the last 2 weeks, and everyone seems to be making some shots on us, which is good, right? I mean, it's just you're going to get everyone's best shot. They're going to be ready for us. We understand that, but last night Capital played phenomenal basketball. Actually, really super talented team. Their point guard, I think, coming into the game had made 7 threes on the year. He was 6 for 7 in the first half to start the game, and pretty well guarded. They were just you're just going to have those types of nights. So I give our staff so much credit. I was freaking out at halftime, and they're just like, "Relax, we'll be okay," and we were guarding, but we have such length, I think, that can bother people, and I always knew that. But when we played Calvin, I saw how it affected us and our guards just because of their length at the guard position was unique. And I think sometimes we have that capability too with different squads we have on the floor.
You're at the pivot point of this conference. You've got Heidelberg coming up on Saturday. I think that's the only team you haven't played in conference because Ohio Northern's coming up, Marietta's coming up, and then Otterbein, who you played earlier this season. So you're pretty much at this pivot point where you're going to start seeing everybody a second time. This is where it gets tougher.
Oh, yeah, it gets tougher. And, it's been you mentioned it in your opening. It's been a different year. I've been here now 15, 16 years, whatever the heck it's been. And not having John Carroll in it, just doesn't kind of feel right, and different coaches that we went against, not in the same spots. So it's kind of a unique deal, But as you said, some unbelievably talented teams, and every night's a nightmare, especially on the road. And it's something we have to embrace. And that's the one great thing when you have a team that really enjoys guarding people and defending, then you have a chance all the time. Especially when you start watching film of how we played the team the first time, they're watching us. Everyone's going to make these adjustments. Well, the one adjustment you shouldn't have to make is how hard you're going to play, how you're going to guard. So if we do that, we just give ourselves a chance to win. We want to lose because we just get smacked around and get beat. People make shots, and the ball goes in for them and doesn't for us. We don't want to lose because of just a lack of intensity and effort and some passion. So, I'll give you an example. We're playing Calvin at halftime. We're 6 of 31 from the field. We're still only down 5 or 6, something like that. And there's nothing to get upset about. We were playing hard. The ball wasn't going in. I thought we had some good shots. And then the second half, it turned around a little bit. So that's all I'm stressing right now as a coach. Let's just play the best we can. And if it's good enough, great. And if it's not, then you tip your cap.
This conference is bonkers. As I said, Otterbein much improved. They're 13-2 right now, 5-1 in conference play. They were 14-12 last season. Muskegon's 12-3, 4-2 in conference play. They were 14-13 last season. Ohio Northern is 8-7, 3-3. So it's a bit of a drop off down to ONU, who were 14-12 last year. But you're now dealing with John Carroll gone. It has nothing to do with them disappearing, that Muskegum and Otterbein are back. Well, Otterbein's back in the conversation. Muskegum hasn't been here in forever. To some degree, do you have to kind of convince your guys, this isn't the teams we were playing last year?
Well, the good news is we have a bunch of young guys too. So they know how good these teams were coming into it, and how well coached they are. Those are two of the best young coaches, that you're going to find. But I'm telling you, we all knew it. We knew coming in that if Muskie, all those guys stayed, how good they were going to be, and Otterbein as well. And they had a couple additions. You add a guy here, you add a guy there, and you're ready. You're ready to go. And I think what I'm most proud of with our conference is just how we did in the non-league. We beat some really good teams as a conference. So those are tournament teams to me. I know I say this stuff all the time, but those are some tournament teams. I'm telling you, you want to go on play Muskingum, God bless you. It ain't going to be fun. It's not.
I choose not to. That's why I do this show. I'm not going to. I'm not going to go play them. Okay, forget it.
That'd be good. That would be a good thing.
Mike, you don't have to make me. Stop it. Listen, early on in the season, Penn State, Harrisburg, Dickinson, Muhlenberg, Case Western, Transylvania, Mount St. Joe, Worcester. How did that help you get? And you also, by the way, played Mount Aloysius and Calvin end of December. How did that help you get ready for what's this conference? What was it about that series of out-of-conference games that you think helped?
Yeah, you go back to back weekends, where you're playing back-to-back games.
Yeah, November was NCAA tournament tough, almost.
But I'm telling you, we enjoyed it. We enjoyed being together. I thought we played really well. All of those games against good teams, and like I said, when you're young and fresh, they're just excited to play. Now after that when we beat, I think it was Mount St. Joe. It was this last game, so that's 6-0. And I had looked at him in the locker room. I can't tell you how proud I am of you guys. Like that. That's a gauntlet that I just put you through, and it wasn't on purpose. Sometimes those are the only teams we can play, right? Is to go, travel on those weekends. But that's when you started to realize, man, maybe we have a chance to be pretty decent. But that gauntlet right there was just the mental toughness you have to go through to get on the bus. I think we were like 30 hours of those weekends on the bus. We didn't unpack a bag. My wife was going to kill me because it just kind of sat in the living room. And,
I do the same.
It just is what it is. And but once you got, we had a sense of team on the road, enjoying, eating together, all those things we've talked about over all these years that just really matter, and this group's got, they love being around each other. And we really as a staff love being around them.
And was it the design somewhat on purpose to get ready for NCAA tournament play in the sense of being used to how you have to deal with, back-to-back games and whatnot?
There is some of that in there, truthfully, but honestly, Dave, it gets tougher and tougher to schedule. I've talked about this many times, but that does help. And we talk to our guys, like, how does your body feel? What do we have to do the night before? What do we have to do that morning of? And then by the third weekend, you started seeing our guys get into a groove of how the coaches like to do things. It's less maybe on the floor, more in the film room, just them getting kind of accustomed to what hopefully will come down the road. The same as being here, playing Mount Aloysius with 4 teams here, and then Calvin, the next day. So those experiences are there, but they are grueling, obviously, especially when you're traveling on the bus. But hopefully it's lessons learned for some of these younger guys.
Well, I could talk to you for an hour and probably still want to talk more. Certainly fascinating. You'll be on the road at Heidelberg this Saturday, as we mentioned. I'm sorry, no, you'll be at Heidelberg next Wednesday. You got Saturday off, in fact. Actually, yeah. Before I let you go, how do you deal with kind of a bit of change the schedule? Like, I know this may not relate. I remember my freshman year, we were playing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday in soccer or something along those lines. We got a routine: Monday practice, Tuesday game, Wednesday practice, Thursday game, Friday practice, Saturday game, Sunday off. Then it switched to Wednesday, Saturday. And I'm convinced to this day, it threw us for the first 2 weeks. How do you get these guys to not lose sync with having a weekend off and having a week off between games now?
Yeah, we're gonna find out. But we had a pretty long break over Christmas. We only had about, I think, 3 days to get ready for the Mount Aloysius Calvin weekend, and our guys responded really well. So we're hoping that continues. Having bye, we have a bye, this Saturday, and then a bye the last Saturday of the season.
Yeah, that's a little weird too.
That one is the one that kind of scares you a little bit.
Because you could end up with 10 days, right? With the way the bracket ends up, you could be 10 days, almost 2 weeks without games.
without a game. Yeah. So, you never know. Maybe we're sick. Maybe there's someone going through an injury that time will help. But again, we just try to embrace it all. Everything's kind of new. The hard part is we can't schedule, non-league games, obviously, during those times, which would be awesome.
You can't?
So it's just all, well, we could, but there's, most of the teams are playing in their league.
Okay. Fair.
On those Saturdays. So it's been unique, man, but hey, it is what it is. Once that ball goes up, like I said, defense travels. Just have that mindset, and then move on to the next day.
I get it, Mike. Appreciate your time and patience waiting for me too.
Absolutely,
having a great season. I can't wait to see where this takes us. Not that I'm part of the ride, but I am enjoying the season. Good luck against Heidelberg and Ohio Northern, Marietta, everybody else as you go along, and obviously some big games still ahead. You know the tradition. We always give the guests the final word. Any final thoughts with those maybe tuned in?
Hey, this one's for you. We're dedicating a room for Lenny, right upstairs from our gymnasium. They're finally
that's
doing
awesome.
The construction. So I'll probably reach out to you for a name. Right now, we want to call it Lenny's Lounge, but I don't know if that's really a suitable name for a gym. But we're looking forward to that, and fill that with some great memories, maybe some pictures. But I just to always keep him when you and I talk and everyone's thoughts and memories, and that'll be a pretty cool thing once that gets done.
That is awesome. Yeah, I lost Scott Geis recently. Same story with Lenny, and always in my thoughts. That is awesome. I do want to hear more about that when it comes to fruition. Thanks for the reminder as well. You take care. Good luck this season, the rest of this season. We'll talk soon. I know.
I hope so, buddy. Take care, man.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Anytime. Take care. Mike Fuline joining us here on the Hoopsville Hotline. Appreciate him taking the time to do so. Great to chat with him as always. As a good team, fascinating conference as well. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll head up to Western Connecticut. Guy Rancourt will join us. They're licking their wounds after a loss to Keene State. We'll see what his thoughts are on his squad and the Little East. You listen to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com for the WBCA Studios.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team, Wade Trophy. The WBCA doesn't just honor coaches, but players, administrators, and much more. The WBCA strives to honor those who have contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. Celebrate the present, honor the past, look to the future.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, then I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit NABC.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC 1927. That's NABC.com or NABC 1927 on social media.
I believe sportsmanship is it's a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team, Wade Trophy. The WBCA doesn't just honor coaches, but players, administrators, and much more. The WBCA strives to honor those who have contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. Celebrate the present, honor the past, look to the future.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important.
Unmute myself. Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. Hope you're enjoying the show. We're already down to the end of the tote board. I don't know where this show has gone, but we've had some great chats along the way. If you've missed any of this, you can watch it on demand later, and we'll have the podcast up at a later date. If you're watching or listening to us on demand, I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you're just checking out in certain segments, I highly encourage you, go back, listen to our conversation with Kaci Kranson and Anna Scoblick of Catholic in Scranton. Especially listen to our conversation with Mary Schleusner and Brittney Kemp at WNL. Mike Fuline from Mount Union was a great conversation as well, and I certainly expect the next one to do so, though I think I might take a little bit of a licking on this next one. Speaking of licking, they're licking their wounds are the Wolves of WestConn as they took on Keene State last night, and it didn't go according to plan, if that's a thing. They ended up dropping the game against Keene State in a big battle for the Little East standings. Now, Mass Boston, believe it or not, is on top of the conference at 5-1, though 9-6 overall. Southern Maine, Rhode Island are 4-2. Western Connecticut's tied now with Keene State at 4-3, but their best record in the conference is either a Western or an Eastern Connecticut in terms of overall record. So I made a decision before that game was played. I wanted to talk to Guy Rancourt because it's been forever. And maybe it's just an underlying scaredness of getting Guy on the show because he doesn't like coming on this show, apparently.
Dave, thanks for having me. I'll never turn down an offer from you. I appreciate you wanting to speak to me.
There we go. I lost the audio on my transition there. One of the things I think that I accidentally do is I so trust that you want to come on the show or will come on the show that I'm like, I'll just talk to him later. And then later comes and goes and we haven't talked.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we've talked since you ended up at Western Connecticut, to be completely honest. At least not on air.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while. And, I had my cup of coffee of 10 years at Lycoming and dipping into your back.
That's a lot of coffee.
Baltimore. And yeah. And you've had your cup of coffee at Salisbury School here in Connecticut for a couple of years. So we've each experienced a little bit of the region, but I'm glad I'm back on.
Well, it's great to have you. Unfortunately, a little tough one. It's interesting. This season's been fits in two different stories, right? Guy, you start off with 2 wins against Worcester and Manhattanville, and then kind of hit the skids, lost 4 or 5 to Emerson, Clark, Eastern Connecticut, and Southern Maine with a win over Skidmore. Then you go on an 8-game winning streak, started with an overtime win over Hartford and Plymouth State, Emmanuel, New Jersey City, CCNY, Mass Boston. That's a big win. Rhode Island College and Mass Dartmouth, and then Keene State trips you up. What's the yin and the yang of this season?
You know what I love about this business is every year is different. And certain things remain the same, but every year you just don't know what's coming. And this year might be the first year that I really feel like it's each team's matchups more than one team's ability overall, as opposed to another. We've had prior years where we've been, consistently strong. Have gone to back championships, and Keene State has been right there with us. So we've always had these battles. But this year you're looking at UMass Boston, who goes in and beats Keene State at Keene State, and they have very talented players. And then we turn around and have a 30 or so point win at Boston. And then we turn around with Keene, and they, like you said, they trip us up last night in a wild one. And I think matchups are going to be really important this year. Certain programs just match up player-wise better than others. And I think that's going to play a factor as it goes down the stretch here.
You're outscoring your opponents by 10 points a game despite the losses, I should say. You're shooting 47%, 48% from the floor as a team. Yeah, I bet you'd love to see the three-point shooting improve. You're at 29.7% and 64% from the floor, and you're being out-rebounded. That's what stats tell me, though. What's really going well? Because it seems like you're shooting well from the floor, but maybe not from deep, and you'd love to rebound better.
Well, yeah, it's a little deceptive. I mean, when you shift into more recent games and in conference, for example, I mean, we're at 39% from three, so we've corrected that to some extent. And, what's really hurt us, the free throws have consistently, been a problem for us. Last night, big problem for us, missing 13 free throws, losing by 5. It's just something you can't have happen. We forced 31 turnovers, and, we're fifth in the country right now in turnovers forced. And we're right up there as well. I think we're like 10th or 12th in steals. So our defense is something that we've always had, whether it be Lycoming, whether it be WestConn. But the offensive side, sometimes takes a little bit longer. And started out the year a little bumpy, like you mentioned. And I think we had to figure out who we were. And we made some adjustments defensively, and we're really able to take off from that. But again, rebounds and free throws win games. And like you mentioned, we're in the negative in rebounds, and we're just not consistent enough at the line at the moment.
When you look at a game like Keene State, which was at home, 63-59, certainly a team that isn't the big fearsome Keene State that we had seen for maybe a handful of the last 5 years. What do you come away with from a game like that, especially at home, that you couldn't get over the hump, only put up 59 points after putting up 90 plus in the previous 3 games, really 4 games? How do you take that game and get ready for Vermont State Castleton?
I think it's great. Sometimes you're just frustrated, but really this year has been a terrific year. I mean, regardless of the record, I have good kids in the program. We have young men that want to work and want to get better, and you don't always have that every year. Yeah, you have a couple of guys that are having visions of grandeur, or seniors that are just struggling with the fact that they want to go out on top, or they want to finish on the court as much as possible. And this year, it's just been a terrific group. So as long as we have effort, I can't get too upset with it. So, last night's loss was frustrating, and there's certainly some areas we have to improve upon that we knew we had an issue with in the past. And we thought we corrected that, and our shooting has gone up, and we've done some better things on the glass. Last night, I think, was the first time we lost the rebounding margin. It was a significant one last night, but I think it's the first time in 5 games that we've lost the rebounding margin. So you just have to stay with it. And if we have that hiccup like we did last night, I'm okay with it, because when I look at it and I see the effort overall that was given, I'm fine. If it was an effort thing and we're coaching effort, then we're not going to be successful. But I think that's why year after year you've seen why we've been near the top, each and every year, is our guys are giving effort, and it allows us to coach and try and get the group better.
It's interesting, this conference, because Keene State had been kind of the team to beat for the last few years, and I think everybody lost track of the rest of the conference. You go back to last year, and suddenly, you guys, not suddenly, you've always had good seasons, but now conference-wise, you're in the mix, finish a game behind them. Rhode Island College seems to be more of a factor. 2 years prior to that, you guys are there, but Keene State's getting all the headlines. But I'm starting to see Southern Maine blossom a little bit. I'm seeing Mass Boston blossom a little bit. Is this conference truly getting better and getting deeper? Or is it maybe a little bit of an illusion? Eastern Connecticut seems to have gotten better.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the conference overall is absolutely better. I think the new dynamic of college basketball with transfers and the portal and taking college transfers as opposed to high school players. Although I wouldn't mind a couple of Salisbury kids. It's changed. It's changed the game. Eastern has returned several players, but then they added a very good shooting transfer. Several schools. You mentioned Southern Maine as well. Southern Maine has several Division II transfers. And then you look at Rhode Island College. With a Division I transfer and the kid Weeks. I believe he left Drexel. Great addition for them. So the transfer portal, I think, has changed and helped our conference overall as far as getting stronger. It's just a matter of what you want to go with. Do you want to try and develop these guys, but then you run that risk of this day and age moving on to Division II, Division I, with no real, reservation or, ramification for that. Or do you go with the transfers? And I think that's helped our conference overall. So yes, I think our conference overall, top to bottom, is absolutely stronger than it's been in the last several years.
If you want more Salisbury kids, take 202 up to 12. To 7. Take the 7 in New Milford. Take 7. Follow 7 all the way up. I would suggest going all the way up into the Housatonic region, make a left, go past Lime Rock. But I would not continue on to Hotchkiss. Forget that. Take a right on Salmon Kill Road. Take that into Salisbury. That's a much better option. Then continue on north. You'll run right into the campus. I'm in.
Whatever it takes. I get.
But skip Hotchkiss. Don't even bother. Don't even. It's not worth it. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Tell me a little bit about what you guys got to do the rest of the way. It's obviously you're in the turn of the conference, right? You're wrapping up playing the first side of conference action. Southern Maine's going to be your first return. You're going to get them at home after losing to them on the road 76-72. And then Eastern Connecticut and Plymouth State on the road after that. So you're in the midst of this 3-game homestand. That's wonderful and all, but what are you telling the guys as you now pivot and play the second half of this conference schedule?
Yeah, and there are going to be no at-larges in our conference. Our parity is too good, and we've knocked each other off enough that you've got to find a way to win the league. So it's just going to have to be one game after another, and our guys have really taken that step forward and made some great strides. And like I said, they remain coachable. Like before our game yesterday in our walkthrough, I talked to the guys about. There are people that drain you in your life, and there are people that lift you up and energize you. And it's such a refreshing group this year that I can walk into an arena and see guys that, nobody's draining us, So I think that's just going to help us as we continue moving forward. And it now's the grind time, as Dave, where, you got through first semester, you got through that intersession. Now, how anxious is that kid to come to practice, and frankly, how much energy are those coaches bringing right now, after they stayed up, night after night, getting ready for a game just to fall short, and this is where you really have to just have guys around you that are going to be positives. And that's what we're kind of locking in on is we just won 8 in a row. We came up short yesterday. Well, it's time to just pick up where we left off and try and get back on that track. And I'm looking forward to practice today, because I know I have guys that want to be there, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah. That makes it, but this is the toughest part of the year, isn't it, Guy? It's first off a period of time where you didn't maybe have classes, or you still don't have classes, and they're going to start back up. You're in the grind of the season, right? You've been playing 2/3 of the season. To overlook an opponent is an easy thing at this point.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, you talk about distraction, you have classes starting now. All of a sudden, softball wants to use part of the gym. Lacrosse wants to try and get some time in there. There's so many things going on, and then it snows, and then track and field sees if they can have any time. So, the joys of Division III, it's there's always other things going on that you have to manage and balance. And we all have challenges and plates we have to spin, but you're right. The grind is certainly starting up now. When you get to that second half and those return games, and if you don't have good leadership and good guys that are expressing the right message, you without a doubt can drop a game or two because you're just overlooking that next one. Listen, the game we played at Boston, probably the best game we've played all year so far, and there's a reason why they only have one loss in league. And to be able to play like that is terrific. But Boston is not as bad as they played, and we're not as good as we played, and we just have to relay that to the guys and try and make sure they understand that.
You're back at your alma mater, 2018, as you and I mentioned, or you mentioned earlier. We're at Lycoming for that 10 years. I obviously the draw to be coaching your alma mater is a slam dunk, but what's it like to truly be back and now fully back? Like, it's not you're back for a year or two. You've been there since 2018. This is now your program. This is your baby. What's this experience been like?
It's been special. Jason Harlow did a great job before I came in here, and then the legend and Bob Campbell was here prior to Jason, and Coach Campbell means the world to me, and the former players here mean so much to me, and Coach still comes to our games and shares a message before or after. He's the best in that he doesn't hold anything back, so I know exactly what the truth is. And I've always told my wife, if I ever had an opportunity to come back to my alma mater, I'd want to do that in a heartbeat. And it's been terrific, and you're only as good as your administration is. And Lori Maz, our athletic director, has been amazing. And we've had several presidents here in my time. And, I feel we finally, we've had wonderful support all the way throughout. But Jesse Bernal, the president now, has just been great. He was there behind the bench last night. And it's just a lot easier when you have people that care and they want you to win, So I've loved it. Thank you for asking that. You always remember what your college days were like, and you remember how much you enjoy it, and then you come back, it's not always the same. And it isn't here either, because you're not that fun-loving student running around having a blast all day long. Now it's business, so it's different. It's a different WestConn, but I think it's a different WestConn in so many good ways. And I'm thrilled of the fan support we've had, and the other sports teams that have been looking out for us, and we try and return the same favor there. So yeah, I'm very happy with it. And we're an hour and 10 minutes from New York City. You appreciate big cities, being a Chicago guy, and at least you went for the Cubs that are good. And I'm a Mets guy. It's painful, But
hey, man, you tortured me in the '80s. Don't.
Boy, unfortunately, I was about 11, so it's been a few years since I enjoyed those days. But yeah, no, you're a stone's throw from the city. You have people around you love being with, and my wife and kids, they love it. So it's been great all around. It's been wonderful.
It's fun to watch in Division III. You know why I love it. And you guys are kind of perfectly situated, especially when I used to drive back and forth. Danbury was the stopping point on the way home, because we could get a bulk of the drive underway, but then not deal with New York, New Jersey, and all that. We could stop in Danbury at a hotel and be good to go. I just haven't convinced the family to get up to Salisbury just yet. By the way, speaking of changes, that campus, as much as it's the same, is very different. Athletics did not have the same kind of punch it has now. So I get your point. It's crazy to return to a campus. I'm glad it's working out so well for you.
Yeah. Things changed, and I mean, when I was here initially, I mean, we had one campus. Now we have two enormous campuses, and it's a completely different. I was playing in a glorified high school gym. Now we have a 4,000 seat arena, and it's certainly a different environment. So I love showing up here every day, and you talk about the changes in campuses and things like that, and I mean, shoot, my time from Lycoming, Stony Brook, Florida State, New Haven, John Jay. I mean, it's just, I went back and saw New Haven just a week or so ago, and it doesn't look anything like the university I was at when I first started coaching. So, you just have to adjust and adapt. And I'm just really lucky to be in a place that is not only my alma mater, but they want to win, and the administration cares about what we do.
Guy, it is so fun to catch up with you. I'm sorry it took me as long as it did. I found every excuse in the book. Maybe because I was so scared you were going to blame me for something.
Dave, I have to be back on whenever you have someone that doesn't show. We're going to break this streak. Okay. Unfortunately, I have for those listening viewers, I have not won after or just before Dave and I have spoken. It's been a rough stretch. It's been several NCAA tournaments we've been able to achieve, but just before that tournament, it's just we've knocked down a little bit and had a tougher game that first round.
I'm almost afraid to even text you asking if you want to be on, because I'm afraid that will be considered enough of a contact.
Hey, it's going to turn, so keep it coming, please.
We'll figure it out. All right. Guy, as always, we have the same tradition on the show we always had. We leave the guests the final word. Any final thoughts you'd like to share with those who may be tuned in?
Well, Dave, I love what you do, and I appreciate you taking the time to want to ask what my thoughts are and what's going on in my life and our world and Division III basketball. And I mean, I know we have the Coaches versus Cancer coming up. I'm part of the NABC Congress, and it's been a great stretch being part of that. And the conversation now is more than anything is, are we going to have guys going to be able to redshirt in practice? That's the big question right now. We're
going to get to that.
Prove it, but you're against it, you said?
I'm not for it, and I'm seeing signs that it's losing steam.
Yeah. Division III has always been a model of, academics first and getting your degree in a reasonable amount of time. And I know there's a lot of support behind that. And I know there are coaches, however, that feel it would be quite beneficial to have that practice opportunity and be able to have a young man develop. But who knows what direction that's going to go in.
If there's one I'm on the fence on, it's that. My problem is I know schools and programs that have taken advantage of it. Like they just design it that way, and it's not about the student. It's more about their program. And so that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah. And you know what? College basketball overall, I'm worried about with that. I mean, with this transfer portal and everything that's going on right now, it's as if a degree is a far distant second to what's important.
Completely
right now.
Agree with you.
It makes our job a lot harder, and I take great pride in the graduation rates and the success we've had in multiple places and places I've been, and it's becoming harder and harder, and having a young man understand how important that is.
I agree. I mean, I get the premise, but yeah, I agree with you on that last part. It's the upper echelon is making it more difficult for everybody, even though I think it's making D3 seem even better. We'll see. We'll figure out how we'll navigate this. Hopefully we're still talking Division III in a few years. Guy, you take care. Enjoy the rest of the season. I know we'll get you on sometime to break this streak up for you. And again, 202 to 7, get up into the Housatonic region, then make a left on, I think it's 102, go past Lime Rock, Salmon Kiln, and right onto the hilltop.
I'm in.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Tell them I sent you. Not that they care. They don't care. Hey, Guy, take care of yourself. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Dave. See ya.
Guy Rancourt joining us on the Hoopsville Hotline. Appreciate him taking the time to do so, especially off of a loss against Keene State. Always means more to me when the coaches are willing to talk, especially, frankly. Well, come back when we come back, updates on stuff going on at the NCAA. They got votes tomorrow. We were just talking about one of those quote-unquote controversial ones, i.e. ones that are up for debate. Update on another one and some other news plus some last-minute business before we sign off on this Thursday. You listen to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com from the WBCA Studios. Back with more after this.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit NABC.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC 1927. That's NABC.com or NABC 1927 on social media.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all.
It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us, all of us.
To stop sexual assault. Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team, Wade Trophy. The WBCA doesn't just honor coaches, but players, administrators, and much more. The WBCA strives to honor those who have contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. Celebrate the present, honor the past, look to the future.
I used to never really talk, ever. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. It helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
And welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody, as we wrap up this show. Great show today. We've had a couple of great shows. Again, if you are not a Hoopsville member and you missed the live show for the top 25 top 25 double take. Wow. Come on, Dave. On Monday night, sign up to be a Hoopsville member, please. Buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville. You get to see that live and the archive, which will eventually be available for the general public, but it hasn't yet. We will change those settings soon. Also, listen to the podcast. I do owe the membership my ballot. I apologize. Wonky week. And this illness is still kicking my butt. This is actually the best I have felt in over 2 weeks. I think it's over 2 weeks. I've lost track of dates here. Yeah, over 2 weeks. And I'm hoping it's on the mend, but I woke up this morning. I'm only this way because of medicine. I woke up this morning still congested. So anyway, it's been knocking me down a bit. I will try and get that written later today along with some other work ahead of my gigs and tomorrow too. But we'll prioritize getting that out for those of you who are interested in my ballot for the top 25. So go to buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville. This is what keeps us going on this show. And we're trying to give you more, like the Off-Court podcast, which we hope to get rolling soon. It's about putting guests together, having a bunch of guests together, then starting to launch those so that we have a resource to go to in case we ever have a gap. We can fill the gap with no problem. We hope to post a couple of those a month, if up to 4, i.e. once a week, but minimum of 2 a month. They're in-depth conversations with individuals, not necessarily about what's going on now, but what got them into Division III, what makes them tick, etc. Mary Schleusner today would be a great off-court podcast down the road, talk about her career. Again, she went from wanting to run in D1 to becoming a D3 basketball player, and she has absolutely shattered the books in the ODAC and WNL, and I think she's marching her way towards some NCAA numbers, 2,100 plus points already. And then Kaci Kranson today, Anna Scoblick, from Catholic and Scranton and Catholic, respectfully. Terrific chat with them. They've known each other forever. And I scheduled them this show knowing they've got one more at the end of the regular season, but I don't want to get pigeonholed into doing that end of the regular season when we may have some other big topics to talk about. So I wanted to get them on now. And I certainly don't want to assume that they're going to be in a conference playoff game either. You never know what may happen. And then Mike Fuline was great, and Guy Rancourt. I keep forgetting how great it is to chat with Guy, who's, by the way, his first name is Charles. Great chat with him at WestConn. Couple of news and notes. By the way, shout out. We put up the Roanoke jersey, or I moved it. I don't remember what I did. Clay Nunley, head coach at Roanoke, who I've known since I walked on campus at Goucher, roughly. I think I met him maybe a week or two later since I showed up. No, I showed up. I did not show up early for soccer. It is a long story. I showed up with the rest, but he was a sophomore because he and I are the same age, but I had that gap year. Anyway, he and I met each other early on. He was a basketball player at Goucher, and it's his 50th birthday today. So happy birthday, Clay Nunley, on the big 5-0. Glad you got there before I did. His Roanoke team in that huge battle in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference in men's basketball. I don't do a lot of coach shout-outs for birthdays. I probably should do more of them. I just can't keep track of them all. But Clay, I know. So I'm giving him the shout-out to him for that. All right, let's talk NCAA convention. I've got some sources telling me a few interesting things. Remember, the vote is now tomorrow. Normally it's on Saturday. They have streamed this in the past. It includes debate. Now, today was the issues forum. Usually there's a straw poll sometimes on these votes for tomorrow, at least a taste of the room or a sampling of the room to see. Now, the straw polls, everybody can vote who's there. When you get to the business session tomorrow, each school only has one vote. Each conference has only one vote. But let's say you bring 10 members from your school, an AD, a couple assistant ADs, you bring your students, your SAC, et cetera. They all can vote in the issues forum when there's doing straw voting. So you could have 10 votes out of a school. SAC does get a vote, but it gets one vote, I believe. So anyway, my point being is that the straw polls can be helpful, but they're not always the be-all and end-all in things. They also sample some ideas for the future, and I don't know what exactly was discussed at the issues forum, which kind of reminds me, I meant to look up if they had an agenda for that. I don't see it off the top of my head. Conference meetings are later today. Don't be surprised. There's one school conference I'm hearing may also now be signing on with Flow. That could come out of this weekend or this week, which would be disappointing. But we'll see. This is where Flow goes and talks to everybody. They take advantage of the conventions. Last year, they talked to every conference. Conference meetings take place. This is where they come up with their decisions on a lot of these votes. Here's what I know. All right, so the proposal's on the table, and there's a Q&A available. Basically, it answers questions that are very popular about these things. There's the establishment of a women's wrestling championship and some other things. There are a total of 17 items to vote on, at least on paper. I'm told one of them may have already been pulled. So the ones that are the three that are most, I'm saying controversial in the sense of that have been the most talk of the town. First is automatic qualification, giving any conference of 12 members or more a second AQ. This is the one I'm hearing got a. I heard may have had more legs than I realized. The SUNYAC jumped on board with this. They weren't the presenting sponsor, but a paper got presented, and I don't know where it is right now. I'll go look for it. Basically arguing for that 4 conferences in Division III took up about a little over 40% of the AQs in all sports combined. We can guess that's probably UAA, NESCAC, Centennial maybe, and if I were to guess on a 4th, it's maybe CCIW or WIAC. Remember, WIAC isn't as strong in some sports, and CCIW, like for example, in sports lacrosse, not as strong. So I don't want to just assume it could be the Old Dominion Athletic Conference too. From what I understand, the 4 conferences were not named. The argument is that this is the antithesis of Division III, that we're supposed to give opportunities to student athletes. And so having a second AQ for these large conferences would only be fair. Here's my problem, and I've said this on other shows, and also I'll be a little bit more succinct on this. First off, one of the conferences that brought this is the United East. That is 2 former conferences that merged into one. If you had stayed your 2 former conferences, you'd have 2 AQs. If you had been the CSAC and you had been the NEAC, you'd have your 2 AQs. You came together. Schools did not leave and or close as fast as you expected, though that's coming and it has happened. You've also added membership. This is a bed you created. You are laying in the bed you made. I don't like the idea of rewriting the rule books just to allow you to get an extra AQ because you got rid of an AQ. It's like the USA South growing and growing and expecting to get a second bid, just like the MEC has in the Freedom and Commonwealth. And again, that's a grandfather rule. They got that because they already had the 2 conferences. They already had the 2 AQs, or not the AQs, but they had the 2 conferences in existence under this current format. And we're that size. They got that to get this AQ system put in place. So they're grandfather. If they were ever to shrink small enough and lose one of those AQs, they lose it. It's gone. They wouldn't gain it back, is my point. The PAC has decided to grow on its own. I don't actually understand the PAC's plan. I mean, they grew big enough to have nothing but conference football games and then realized that wasn't a smart idea. No, it wasn't. So I don't know what the PAC is truly thinking about here. They're jumping on board. And the SUNYAC's growing after shrinking, and now they want access to another AQ. No. Furthermore, we just had conferences or get approved to have conferences shrink down to 6 for an AQ. So you can be a smaller conference. And by the way, there's no rhyme or reason 2 conferences should come together to get a second AQ, because in this grand scheme of things, it's not easier to get an AQ. I'm going to take it. Let's just take this for a random. Let's take the Centennial and the Landmark. Let's say that they were to combine to make a super conference. In some sports, one of those conferences is not going to be in a better position to gain access to that second AQ. If anything, they had a better opportunity the AQ in their old conference. I'm baffled at why this is a smart idea. No. And I'm hearing this is starting to, for as much momentum as I started hearing about it, it's losing steam is what I'm hearing now. If this comes to a vote, I don't think this goes through, and I think it gets voted down overwhelmingly. Now, I could be wrong. I'm just reading tea leaves, and I can't talk to everybody. But my sense is it's losing some steam now, and it's not going to get approved. The other one that came up that's a bit of a bone of contention, but one we didn't discuss, by the way, multi-sport conferences waiting periods shrunk from 2 years to 1. I'm not sure how I feel about that. The premise being they don't want to hurt student athletes who are there for 4 years and 2 of those years are not eligible for an AQ. I do like also the idea that a conference be solidified. I'm curious on how that goes. The mandatory winter break, something I missed that I got reminded about this week. That mandatory winter break that they want to put in place between mid-December and December 28th. It's 2 weeks that you have to, as a winter sport, take your mandatory break 1 week long in that 2-week window, only in that 2-week window. Besides the fact that school may mandate that you take a break during exams And so now it's a second break because the exam period may not line up and other unintended consequences. What I didn't read or understand when I read it was that mandatory break has to be for all sports at that institution for that week. So you're saying if you have both ice hockeys, wrestling, and both basketballs, that all 5 of those sports have to take the exact same week off. What if the women's basketball program has a tournament pre-Christmas and the men have it post-Christmas? Now, this wasn't going to get put into place until 2028 to allow everybody to adapt. But still, those kind of circumstances, now you're telling everybody you got to play pre or post-Christmas. No way in shape and form that should happen. If you want to put a mandate that from December 1 until January 15, you got to take a week off, I'm fine with that. Let schools decide when they want to take a week off. I'm hearing that has been pulled, that it will not be voted on. Now, that won't be official until the business session tomorrow when it comes up for a vote, and those who brought it to the floor will step up to usually argue for it. They will say at that point, we are pulling this from being voted on. I am told that is getting pulled and will not be voted on, but we have to wait till it happens tomorrow to know that for sure. But I don't think that's got a chance in it. It's got a snowball chance in that really hot place underneath to work. And so if it were to get voted, I don't think it's got any chance. And then the third one that is a little bit quote unquote controversial is the one we were just talking about with Guy Rancourt. That's the quote unquote red shirt, which basically says, listen, if a student athlete doesn't want to play, but he still wants to practice with a team, he can, and not lose a year of eligibility. There's a couple of things that are flying in the face of that. D3 just overwhelmingly approved language that endorsed the idea that Division III is a 4-year college experience. I understand some students may take 5 years. I'm one of them to graduate from an institution. But the premise is that we are truly rooted in the originality of NCAA. Division III, you play 4 years. You don't get a fifth. You get to do it over 10 semesters in 5 years, but you can't participate with a team. Now, if we want to talk about maybe small participation, I'm okay with that, but I don't like the idea of the full year. I am hearing, where did I read this? Red shirt rule losing steam as well. So maybe I'm wrong on the previous one saying losing steam on the AQ, but I think I'm hearing from others the AQ is just not flying well. But again, so the red shirt looks like it's losing steam. And yes, okay. My sources are saying losing steam, it sounds like, on the red shirt and the AQs. So those two big ones seem to be losing some steam. We'll see if they come up for votes. If they come up with votes, wouldn't be surprised if they're overwhelmingly voted down. Here's the key here. If you have one come up for a vote and it gets overwhelmingly voted down, the chance of you bringing it back are slim and none, because people are going to go back and go, well, you just brought this up in 26 and it got smoked by this margin. Why would we even consider this again? Nothing's changed. If you pull it, then you've got a chance of bringing it back maybe later. Case in point, that 10% reduction in games for the regular season got pulled at the vote. I think it was at this same convention, matter of fact, i.e. The one down in National Harbor, location-wise. Now, it has not come back, so there hasn't been any impetus to want to bring it back. But if it did, there's no record to say it got smoked. If you go up for a vote and you get absolutely killed, there's no chance. Now, if you have a vote that's close, football's had this a few times. If you have a vote that's close, you might try and find ways to make it work before it finally gets approved. Anyway, 17 votes. I'm hearing at least one has been pulled, so we're down to maybe 16 actual conversations. Most of these are slam dunks, like they're going to approve women's flag football as an emerging sport. Acrobatics, tumbling, or stunt, or both as a national collegiate championship. That one's going to be interesting to watch. Women's wrestling, I expect that to be a slam dunk, approved as the 91st championship, 92nd championship in the NCAA. I'm losing track. Elite 90, so 91. And some of these others are just paperwork. But those three are the big ones, and we'll see where it plays out from there. Any other questions? Fire them at me. I'm double checking emails to see if anybody has, or checking Twitter, see if anybody has fired us some conversational questions. I don't see any, so we'll leave it be. Monday's show. So we can't go during the middle of the day because I have a gig at 1 p.m. For a D1 school. And I got to be careful on the timing because I wouldn't be surprised if that game gets pushed a little bit. It's part of CBS's full MLK day of games. They've got one before it. So we're going to go on around 6 or 6:30 that evening, live with the show. And then we're going to butt straight into the top 25 show. So we're going to kind of do a super show, as it were. As a result of that, the Super Show is going to be live for everyone. Now, normally I say buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville. We're going to give you a taste of what this show's like. So hopefully more of you will jump on board and get this show live. So we're going to do this. Basically, it's going to be a super show. I'm probably not going to do the marathon this year for a lot of logistical reasons. Also because the timing of it is right before a major trip I got to make. So it's starting to become more complicated. So Monday's show, going to start about 6:30 and go till about 9:30. So a little bit of a longer show. We'll have our normal amount of guests, but then we'll do the top 25 on the back end. We're working on guests for that. And then next Thursday, I believe we're back to normal 12 Eastern time for that one. I don't think we have any other changes. Let's see here. I don't have any other changes to the show until possibly February 19th. And we've got some other big guests coming up. We're in the midst of booking and finalizing with them. So we got some good shows ahead of us. And we had a great show today. We had a great show earlier this week. We've had some great shows. I hope you've had a chance to watch them or listen to them online or on demand or through the podcast. Today, I want to thank Kaci Kranson of Scranton and Anna Scoblick of CUA. Honestly, I'm gonna tell Ryan to do more on that story because there is more to dig into that. Mary Schleusner and Brittney Kemp from WNL, awesome conversation with them. Mike Fuline at Mount Union, great to connect with him, and Guy Rancourt at Western Connecticut. I want to thank all the sports information departments for helping us put these segments together today. It was a tremendous show, especially those at WestConn, who I contacted a little bit at the last minute as some schedules changed. And can't wait for Monday's show. Again, 6:30, we'll formalize it here in the next 24 hours to be sure and get it out on our social medias, which you can find us at D3Hoopsville at both Instagram and Twitter, and also Threads. We try and use Threads as much as we can using the hashtag Hoopsville as well. Facebook.com/Hoopsville. We're on Blue Sky, but I'll be honest, I haven't used it this season because I keep forgetting, but you can find us there at Hoopsville as well. And you can always email us, hoopsville@d3sports.com. And please remember, buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville. Help us make a donation, join our membership, and we'll have some things you can even purchase, some novelty ideas down the road. Those are coming very soon. I just, again, got to finish some pictures. Thank you for everybody tuning in. Great show, great fun. Had a great time with it. I hope you enjoyed the conversations as well, and you'll join us back here on Monday for a semi-super show. You've been listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com from the WBCA Studios, thanks to the help of the D3 Hoops crew, and of course the Women's Basketball Coaches Association as well. If you want to talk Division III basketball, you've got to listen to Hoopsville. I'm your host, Dave McHugh. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you on Monday for the super show and the new Top 25.